Well, welcome to another episode of The Minority Voice. I'm your host, Jeff Vega, and I brought Patrice Johnson back. We wanted to share a little bit about a national level situation, and that is the Durham Report. So, welcome back, and what was your first thought?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me back. I appreciate it. It's always fun to see you.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you. Well, my first thought was, finally, because as with everyone, we'd all been waiting to see if it would ever materialize or whether it would be quashed.
You know, that was my thought too. As I said, I thought they would just sweep it all under the rug, and but they didn't.
Not yet. Not yet.
So what did they? What does he get indicted on, and who's getting indicted?
Michael Sussman was indicted, and he was indicted for lying to the FBI. But it was a big lie.
You know, it was. And the thing that I found interesting was, okay, it was a lie, and they came back with a 27-page indictment. Now, you would think, okay, if it's just a lie, they would point out, okay, you said this when it was really this, and it's open and shut. But 27 pages. And I didn't read the 27. Did you read the 27 pages?
Not entirely, no,
Okay.
but I will.
Oh, you will?
I will,
okay.
sure.
So I tell you read it and you give me all the insights. But you know, I've heard a lot of people who have read the whole thing, and it is full of information that you might say leads down a bunch of other rabbit holes. And you know, tell us a little bit about Michael. What's his connection? How did he get involved with this from your perspective?
Well, my understanding, of course, he's with Perkins Coie,
right.
who is basically the Clinton lawyer for a long time and the Democrat National Committee's lawyer.
Yes, they got a whole list of clients. Yes,
right. And he basically, they had been trying to smear Trump that he was affiliated with the Russians, and they'd been circulating this rumor, and they couldn't get anyone to cover it. So then they managed to attach it to a report, and because it was attached to a report, it then became news and got traction. But they'd been circulating it for, I think, 6 months to a year, trying to get traction on this. And
you know, this is what I heard. So we're getting back to the Perkins Coie. I got a list here.
Good.
They not only are their firm, their other attorneys are part of the Clinton, and you said the DNC, but also one of their clients is Fusion GPS.
Oh yes. And
Christopher Steele. From what I understand, it was when they were passing this. These stories, you know, the PP tapes and all, which was a lie, the Russian collusion.
Another lie.
All these people that were involved with the FBI, they had a connection, and so they couldn't use them. And so they thought this Michael Sussman was somebody who wasn't connected with any of these other ones.
Yes, and then somehow they roped Christopher Steele into it so that they could get credibility from Great Britain to come in that door.
Yeah. And that being said, this was a global operation. But
yes,
they're saying who was the FBI director?
Comey.
No, before Comey. Well, after Comey. He's a weasel. Well, they're all a bunch of weasels, but
not.
Can't think
I want to say Ray.
No,
that was
Christopher Ray. Anyways, whoever it was. Anyways, when this Sussman came, it's like, okay, he's the guy that we can use. And well, come to find out, he had the connections, and as a result, now that's how they got these other ones involved too.
Yeah. So the question too is, how could the FBI not have known? Because clearly Sussman received payments, and there's a record of payments. So they must have known early on that these charges were, that there was nothing to them. And this went on for 2 years.
Yeah.
And there was an impeachment trial involved in this.
Yeah. And you know, the fact that you mentioned about the payments, and I read, and I don't know the law, but in this report, they have all the records of Perkins Coie. And there's, I guess there's a law that states you don't have attorney-client privileges if there's some kind of illegal activity. And because of whatever it was, and I wish I knew what it was, but now they've got all Perkins records. So they've got all the payoffs, the billings of everybody that's involved.
Well, and they also have in there, Sussman, as an attorney, knew that he was breaking the law when he was lying. This was not just an inadvertent misstep. He knew exactly, his law background would have told him that he was definitely breaking the law, and he went ahead and did it.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. So when you look at this too, oh, there was another thing, I made a note here. There's another attorney that soon as this indictment came down, his name's Market Ellis. He actually resigned from Perkins Coie. And his direct clients were the ones I mentioned. He had direct connections with Clinton, DNC, Fusion. So evidently he had billable hours with these people too.
Oh, sure.
So now we this whole Perkins Coie, they're like all into this, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And I think, you know, that with this report, there's 27 pages. He put enough stuff out there, and like I said, I didn't read it all yet, and you're going to read it for me, right?
Right, I'll read it for you.
Good. He's put so much stuff out there that whether or not they do anything outside of slap this guy in the wrist, which I actually kind of think that's all they're going to do. You know, I don't have the confidence in the FBI anymore, but there is enough stuff out there that this is not going to go away.
Yeah, I think it exposes a really interesting concept, and that is people had assumed that the Obama administration corrupted the government, the FBI and internal organizations like the IRS, and weaponized them. But now I think through this we're learning that outside forces, large corporate enterprises, what is he called? Tech person 1 and tech person 2, large corporate wealthy people with large amounts of money were affecting the government.
Yeah.
So that's pulling back the curtain further.
Now that you mentioned that, there was another thing that I heard in this report when they were talking about Sussman. I think it was pretty much Sussman, but he was talking to government agency 1 in DC, and then on September, I think it was September 19, 2020, he talked to a government agency outside of DC. So the only real government agency that I know of outside of DC is the CIA.
Oh, sure.
So now, okay, he's talking to another government agency.
Is it a U.S. government agency? Because the Ukraine is involved and Great Britain is involved. U.S. government agency.
But the date, it was while President Trump, while he was president. So now you've got this guy talking to 2 government agencies, undermining, I would have to say,
a sitting president.
A sitting president.
So you could use the word coup. appropriately, and
So-
President Trump did use the word coup.
Yeah, and
Wasn't
so
taken seriously.
So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with that. And you got to know he's got the information on, though they didn't say who the agency was, but what that meeting was about. Because if there was a meeting, he knew about it. They investigated it, so they know.
They've
So-
certainly had time to look into everything quite
Yes,
thoroughly.
yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. So I guess that's our 2 cents worth of the Durham Report, and maybe come back in the future and
More to come.
Yeah, more to come. And okay, so it's good to have you again, and look forward to
Thank
getting a weekly update from you from Lansing next week. So until next time, folks. Joshua 24:15.